Restoring Truth and Sanity to American History. What the hell does that mean? Have we been lied to all of our lives? Do I really live in the United States? Are we to believe Donald Trump never lost an election? Jim Crow, slavery, Black Wall Street never existed? You mean I didn't lose my third grade spelling bee? According to Executive Order 14253, it was all a dream. We don't want to remember or talk about those things. Stop right now. Don't scroll. Come talk with us. We're about to hash this out. Brothas Crossing. Good day. Another good day. Welcome, family. Welcome, Udeni, to my Zulu brothers, to the Brothas Crossing. The brothers are in the building. I'm Roro, here with Cub and Nando. Before we start, please make sure you like, follow, comment, share, and or subscribe on the Book of Face at Brothers Crossing or on the Tube of You at DFN Inc. We are building knowledge through community and help us produce content. I'll be presenting today, so that's why you're going to be hearing me for a little bit. But let's get cracking. And Nando, I'm not talking about your knees. We got to get it cracking.
That
As
sounded
one
like
of
a racial. That sounded like a racial slur to me.
Not
First
really.
racial-
It's called old age.
It's called old age. That's right.
That sounded like a slur. Okay, go ahead.
But we're about to get cracking. So it's one of 225 executive orders signed by the president. This one has got me shaking my head. Again, I mentioned Executive Order 14253. It was signed in March of 2025. And it reads in large part that Americans have witnessed a concerted effort to rewrite American history, replacing objective facts with distortive narratives driven by ideology rather than truth. The United States legacy of liberty, individual rights, and human happiness is reconstructed as racist, sexist, oppressive, or irredeemably flawed. It goes on to say that we're dismantling Western foundations and interrogating institutional racism, that racial identity dictates how to convey history. That's what they're saying now. Order declares that American parks, museums, and monuments should promote liberty, prosperity, and human flourishing, not ideology, indoctrination, and division narratives that distorts our shared history. You heard me, our shared history. Our shared history, I'm sure there's many segments of America that has some different experience we're going to talk about. But all that said, my opening statement, gentlemen, is erasing bad parts of American history makes us soft and subject to repeat history. So I would say in 2025, let me explain. This is not an exhaustive list, but they had, because of this order, that they've removed a placard from the Philadelphia house where George Washington lived that said that he owned 9 slaves. And just most recently, a judge in Pennsylvania told them they had to put it back. They removed the scourged back of Peter Gordon that showed scars. And I'm sure you've seen it, him being beaten as a slave. And they removed that in Georgia. Exhibits at the Smithsonian about civil rights, slavery, and Jim Crow have been reduced. And they've cut funding on sites focused on slavery, like the Whitney Plantation Museum in Louisiana, renaming of military bases. And they've gone even as far as to do book banning. I mean, I believe we've entered an era, and I'm going to borrow from the judge that made the ruling, Cynthia Roof, of blissful ignorance, where ignorance is strength. We could tell our kids, a generation of kids, anything that's bad because they're going to be too soft. We have to tell little Joey he's the best basketball player in the world. We all know his jumper is broke. Not showing him videos of a broken jumper will not help Joey get better or be prepared for or be able to handle what's around the corner. He will just keep at status quo. And as an aging adult, I got to rely on soft Joey. So forgetting about degradation and mistreatment of others like the Blacks, Indigenous folks, women, and LBGQT Americans' historical experience and focus on a shared happy experience. And I'm sure there was some shared American experience, but the experience that we are predominantly left with is white males' experiences and perspectives. Maybe it's training, maybe it's protecting the heritage. That is the point. But it's making us soft and doomed to repeat it. Your brother's cross examination. Go ahead.
You want to go,
I
Nando, or
was
shall
about
I?
to start.
Go
Yeah,
ahead. Go ahead.
I was about to start. And
Go
as I
ahead.
was sitting here chopping up his famous words from another country, that I had to catch myself and then I had to start paying attention. And when I was paying attention, you Cov, as the different nationality of the group of Brothers Crossing,
The
was
minority.
feverishly writing on a piece of paper. So I know you were chopping at the bits to give us your inclination of what your thoughts are of what he said, because with you writing as many notes as a defensive lawyer, I cannot wait to let you have the floor to let us know what your thoughts are, since you have so many notes written down.
Well, for those of us that were paying attention, obviously you were not, Your Honor. Can I go first?
Let's hear it.
It's just a little statement. And, we're in the times that we're in currently, right? Agreed?
Yeah.
Is it
Yeah.
always going to be this way? I don't think so. Just because some things are taken away at this moment doesn't mean that it didn't happen. Did the Civil War happen?
Yes, it happened.
Yes. We all know why it happened.
Yes.
You're not going to erase that. You can take down a statue. You could.
But you're going to get rid of all the pictures. Let's get rid of all the pictures and all the thing that's going to tell the young generation.
It's temporary in this moment with this particular administration. This history has been going on for 1860s, 160 years. I mean, come on. Did the atomic bomb happen? You
Yep.
can't erase it. You can say that it didn't happen or try and spin it, how we treated Japanese Americans and so on. It happened. We all know it happened. There were books prior to this 4 years that's beginning. Civil Rights Bill, did that bill get signed in the 60s by LBJ? It did. It's not
And
going
it's going to go
away.
away.
You can't say that it went away. It's still around. So I'm just saying, you're in a temporary moment, of an ugly period, and that's it. You can't try and say that it's, suddenly you're going to be wiped off the face of the earth. That's all I'm trying to say.
That was a lot of notes for such a little bit to say. I was expecting something so profound. I was expecting something to come up, because my question back to you
Well, you've
is,
never said
who
anything
gets,
profound, so go ahead.
that's why we're Brothers Crossing. You're the younger brother who always thinks he's always right. I totally understand.
I'm the oldest brother here. Thank you very little. I know I look the youngest, but I
Stuck
am
in
the
his
oldest.
ways.
That sounds more like a younger brother than an older brother. But my question to you is, who gets to define what the shared values is to devise our nation? Who gets to decide this?
Well,
And you say moments in time.
it's just this moment in time. Are you saying that someone's taken some statues down, or suddenly I don't have a memory? The hundreds of millions of Americans suddenly don't have a memory? I mean, come on.
Oh, come on. Seriously? Let's take a step back. Why did we start this podcast? Is because we are trying to make sure that the younger generation and our generation never forget. Once you remove that, some of the generations behind us will not know what we went through. So you are making that decision to devise our nation by not educating the people that are coming up behind us. So you are correct. Oh, yeah. Let it happen. It won't be that long.
Did
But
I say let it happen? Did those words come out of my mouth? No, they
I
didn't.
think that country,
No.
I think that country boondock, Dukes of Hazzard voice you just had, I think it did come out saying that.
Yeah. Yeah. I just got a call, and I was told to go to the burn book, and it says, Cub, you are so quick to forget history. As I recall on a previous episode, you were married and divorced twice to the same woman. We should be talking about that. You want to get rid of history? That's how quick you.
Ooh.
That's what the burn book said.
I don't even know how to respond. That is, I think the legal term is that is fallacious and a red herring. I think that's what you're trying to do there. Look, you guys are on the row. This is your case. So far, if I was to rule right now, I would say you're done. But we'll give you a chance to try and prove your case. You're trying to make the assertion that with what these things that are happening today are for a lifetime, and eventually we'll get to a generation that they don't remember any of these things. Really? Is that what you're really trying to say? Really?
I am.
Mhm.
I
That
am.
it's
I think
Yes.
that we got to.
any other administration that comes in, that they're not gonna put things back. I mean, they do it from administration to administration. They do one thing, the other guy cancels the other. You don't think this is gonna get canceled by somebody else? Come on.
Yeah.
We don't know for sure.
You're
But
smarter than
I'm
that.
gonna borrow from Malcolm X. Malcolm X quote, and you guys probably seen it already.
Who is he?
History,
Is he in a book? I've never read him in a book anywhere. Who's
no,
this guy?
history repeats itself when lessons are ignored, and the people who suffer most are always the ones that were never taught the truth. And that's the facts. If you don't teach them now, if you hide it away from people, you can't depend on the next hope that the next president or the next administration is going to do something. You got to keep teaching people the truth so they can not repeat it. And that's why I feel like we keep hiding the ball from the generation. It's going to make them feel bad, not gonna make them feel bad. I want them to know so they don't repeat the same thing. And it'll be those people who think, "I've got a bright idea. You know what?" And this is extreme. We should have indentured servants. That will cut the cost of everything. Oh, teach them that it didn't work before. And that's my point. Don't let go of the rope just because somebody is in their administration is in. You always got to teach the lessons, good, bad, whatever, whenever.
I'll keep coming back to it. You think that this in the grand scheme of time, that this little blip is gonna dictate the entire future.
Yes.
And I just think you're wrong. I just think you're dead wrong. It's a momentary issue. Not great, I will agree with you, but it's a momentary issue that will come out of everything will go back to the way it was, and it'll be over.
But until that time comes, are we sowing a division in our society instead of educating? So
Yes.
until that next administration, whether it's 2 years or whether it's 4 years, we're going to have 365 days times those 4 years of people not getting educated. So my question is, are we sowing a division right now instead of educating the individuals of what has been going on with our truth and with our national unity?
I just think you guys are worried about, bro. I think you're worried about this moment in time that's going to carry into eternity. And it's not. People's memories just suddenly get erased from what they've already been taught. You're talking about really young kids, they have parents. Parents are going to tell them what's what. And I think you're forgetting that piece.
You would think that. You would think they would do that. But I think that we're getting to the point as we get further away from, let's say, Jim Crow or those things that were stains on our country. You're no longer going to have those storytellers, those parents. They're getting older. If they're not there to tell the history, who's going to tell them? They're just going to believe what they read on the internet or what they see in the museums, and that's all they got, or in the books, because they're doing book banning and they're doing all these other things to kind of cleanse history or sanitize history, and that's where I feel like we're losing it. I'm of the I don't get me wrong because I thought the one thing, and this might be not a popular opinion, but I thought it was kind of silly uh, during the Biden administration where they were renaming all the forts. It was a moment like that happened. Like, yeah, okay, there was a period of time that people wanted to honor whoever they wanted to honor at that time. We can't go back and say, now let's change history to make it like it's history today. I'm okay with that. But as long as you keep teaching history, I'm fine. We understand why they named that statue back in the day. These people liked it like this. But now to kind of change history, to change monuments, that's just changing education just to fulfill the need of today. And that's how we've arrived at today, where we have an administration that's trying to sanitize it to their liking today. And
Well, we're
it shouldn't happen along the way.
I didn't see you marching when they changed Mount Evans to Mount Blue Sky.
No,
Whoops. Oh,
You
forgot
didn't.
about that one.
You
Mm.
didn't.
Where?
I didn't.
Oh,
I wasn't it, but don't tell me that you're gonna get rid of all the history and everything we're gonna have is shared history and it's gonna be happy, white, joyful history. Look at us. We landed on the moon. We look at this. We're living in a great White House. Don't talk about the Negroes that helped build it. That's all I'm saying. You gotta take the whole packet. And whether it's temporary or
I don't think
whatever.
anyone's forgot who helped
What do you
build the
say,
White
Nando?
House.
Wrap it up for us.
The
Tell
majority of them that helped build the White House were African Americans, so no one's forgot that, and that's no one's ever
Nando,
gonna forget.
give
Yeah,
us your
say
verdict, and then we'll go
something.
to Cub.
You are so weak. Are
Man,
you
Puppet
drunk?
Craig, you're sowing a division in our society and you're trying to erase an uncomfortable
Stop it.
part of our history. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't have to say a lot of words like you. No, I can say such
You're
few
smoking some
words
shit.
and let you know. I am just letting you know right now, it's erasing a part that is uncomfortable with our history. And this portion, just like you said earlier, their parents will teach them. There is no book on parenting. There's no book on how to parent correctly. So you're trusting that an individual is going to teach their kids what happened in history. Wonder if their history was dealing with the side of the government and the KKK where they think that is correct. Unlike the uncomfortable history of our brown, of our black individuals and what we went through. All we're saying is, guess what? It's an uncomfortable history. We don't want it erased. We just want to have a dialogue conversation to continue.
Yes. We
You
need to
don't think that's
educate.
going on in the South anyway?
Not no, I'm gonna say that I
Yeah.
don't believe that is going on. I'm gonna say I don't believe the likelihood that a white person in a far rural society never meeting another person of color, whether it's black, Mexican, or whatever, is more likely than a black person never seeing a white person. And so why I'm getting that is that you don't there's no need to educate that white person who's never has to experience a black person in their life or anybody. Why would they parents educate them about that? You don't have to deal with that. Don't worry about that.
You're
But the
assuming
other
that
way around,
you're assuming that that is the entire country.
I didn't say it was the entire country.
But you're
I said
saying that,
there's a
that
segment.
it
There's a
would have to
segment.
be. It would have to be for that the whole country would have to feel that way to in your words that it would be completely erased. And I'm trying to say that it's a it's a it's a small thing going on right now. I don't like it any more than you do, but I'm not worried about it that it's going to continue forward forever like what you're trying to say. I just don't think it's going to happen. And in 4 years or 8 years from now, we can have this conversation where those things have been reversed. And then you're going to go, Cub, you were right again.
Yeah, that probably won't come out of my mouth.
Well, I know that will never come out of my mouth. So the
Oh,
last thing I'm going to say is when we're talking about educating our individuals, if you're saying that this isn't our society and this wasn't happen, I want to say these words. Why do we still have sundown towns? And you're going to ask, what does sundown towns mean? Sundown towns in certain areas of this country, the United States, where individuals of color cannot be anywhere in that vicinity after the hours of 5 or 6 o'clock because something is going to happen to them. And you're going to ask, that is not true. Look up the word sundown towns in the United States and tell me how many are you going to notice where the black and brown cannot show up after the sun goes down because something's going to
Wow.
happen to them
what part of
because
the country is that?
we still continue in some of these areas to explain that part of history. But when we're talking about keeping some part of history for us to teach everybody else, that's where we're running into an issue. It's all over the place in the United States.
All over the place in the United States. I'd like to see some specifics on that. I think you're probably referring to maybe in the Deep South.
It could be the Deep South. It could be everywhere where it's not a big city.
So you
Anywhere
said
where
it could
there's not a
be.
big city.
Okay. I mean, you're making some assumptions about places without any specifics, but I'll take your point.
So, Cov, give us your final statement, and then Nando, you give me your final statement. And I'll give you mine, and we'll turn it over to our subscribers to see what they think. Cov, what you got? Final statement.
I think I've made my point very clear. I don't agree with what's happening. Let me make that perfectly clear. I think it's temporary. It'll be corrected by sane individuals going forward. I don't think it's anything you have to worry about. Things will come back to normal and we'll have this conversation way down the road and it'll be fine. I'm out.
Okay, Nando, final statement.
I understand his point of view because I'm open to hearing his point of view. I don't agree with it
Of
because we're
course
in
not.
this situation still having this conversation that for how long it takes for them to take it away and put it back, we're going to lose that generation of education of the individuals who are sitting here listening to it. We shouldn't have sundown towns anymore. We shouldn't be having this conversation, but we still are because we're still educating our society. I respect Cub and his point of view, but I don't agree with it.
And I'm going to end it, as you know, I love quotes. And this might not comply with the executive order because it's from a Spanish American philosopher from like 1905. Progress depends on retentiveness. When experiences are not retained, as among savages, infancy is perpetual. Infancy is perpetual. Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. And so that's what we got to say, folks. Thanks for listening. We want you to put in the comments. It's a very interesting conversation. We're trying to get educated. Let's all get educated together and make sure again, like, subscribe, comment, and tell Cove he's wrong. And
Why is this a
we'll
two
holler at
against
you.
one? Why you were shooting your case? You forget your brother Nando here. We're supposed to be on the defense, but then he joined you on the offense. What kind of?
I
That
know
sounds
because
like that sounds like a setup to me. Okay,
he saw the light. He saw the light. But
he saw
remember,
it. Yeah, he just saw the bottom of that 40.
so remember, just put in your comments. We love to hear it because this is an interesting subject. And as always, on behalf of me, Roro, and Cove and Nando, we like to always engage with you. So always look left, always look right. Brothers Crossing. Good night. Ace.